Okay, so this is the best and the most quiet place I could find to do this, but right now we are in the back of the warehouse at Condor Blue. Tomorrow we have a film that we're going to be shooting over the next 2 days, and one thing you want to do before getting on set, especially as a camera operator, is make sure that you show up to camera prep. Now there is going to be a right and a wrong way of doing things, so here's some do's, some don'ts, some things to keep in mind, and also some of the things that we're actually going to rig up for this 2-day shoot. We'll get there. Now, obviously, knowing the cameras you're going to be bringing on set is going to be important, but you also need to know specific specifications for each camera. For example, the memory needs and also your battery needs as well. We talked about in a previous video about the battery draw coming from the Arri Alexa XT, and that's going to be no different because one of our A cameras is going to be the Arri Alexa Mini LF. Now, we also have one more camera we haven't really talked about just yet because it's new, but you want to know things like the power draw it's going to have so you know how many batteries you need for the day, but also your memory as well. Arri Alexa cards aren't cheap, and making sure that you have enough to actually shoot, which means that you're gonna have to consider the codecs and your frame rates and generally how much memory is gonna take up, because if you don't have more than the cards that you need and it makes the day slower, it's gonna end up costing you more money in the long run. Also, something just for care, especially when the rest of your crew might be bringing equipment or you have different rental shops for the stuff that you need. Make sure you label stuff. Now this might kind of go unnoticed, but this also will solve a very big problem later on. If you have different colored pieces of tape, you could label the different places where different things from different rental houses or other people in your crew where it's come from in order for you to tell one thing from the other, because sometimes you get lost and sometimes you go home with some stuff that you didn't really plan for and actually wasn't yours to begin with. Next thing is going to be wireless monitoring. Now on this shoot, we actually are going to have 2 people pulling focus because we will be using anamorphic lenses. You want to make sure that everything turns on and everything connects. You also want to test the latency as well to make your focus puller job even easier. And you also want to make sure that the power draw and power delivery makes a lot of sense for the setup. Now in a later video, we are going to talk about some of the roles of the camera department. Now my job as an operator isn't necessarily responsible for rigging the cameras, although I did stay back for this camera prep to help our first AC, Adam. Now Adam is much more versed in the Arri Alexa system. He knows the accessories that it needs, from cables to battery power, or even the monitors and some of the other things that you're going to need to have a successful shoot. Once he has that all rigged up, I'm going to fit onto an easy rig to make sure that I can handle the weight and make sure that it's balanced and make sure that everything goes as smooth as it should. But I'm gonna kind of lean over to him a little bit to talk more about the camera rigging do's and don'ts, mostly because that's a little bit more of his wheelhouse, and honestly, I just pressed the button.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about cameras compared to this guy. Now, this is our first AC, Adam. He is rigging up and setting up the Arri Alexa Mini LF. What do we have on the rig here?
So we're working with Connor's new gold mount, the new Pro plate, which is working really, really well. I love there's mounting points all over this thing, so I can just add little bits and bobs of what I need. And then we got the Atlas Mercuries, which are just gonna look amazing on this open gate sensor. So I'm pretty excited, loving to put some of these more approachable pieces from Condor onto such an industry standard camera. So the don't is, for sure, I see people all the time just roll up onto set, open up their case and start building the camera. I think that is kind of just the silliest thing you can do. So always prep your camera the night before, even if it's just you shooting on a small camera yourself. Building everything out, testing and running it ahead of time is gonna just set you up so well. And you're not rolling up to set worrying about gear, you're rolling up to set getting started on the shooting. And then I'd say my do is test every little thing. On this setup, we have a bunch of wireless video receivers for all 3 of our cameras, as well as time code and 3 different focus units. And so it's really important to check every lens, every focus unit, every wireless system on set, because without fail, the one thing you don't check is going to be the thing that fails when you get to set.
Okay, so we have Charles here. He's rigging up a couple of cameras. These are going to be our B and our C cameras. Tell us what you got rigging up here.
So I got 2 brand new Panasonic GH7s that I'm rigging up with our Pro Blade system, our cage, and our really smart V-Lock battery plate here. So A cam is going to be the black camera right here, so with the black cage, and then this is going to be our B cam, the silver camera. So far, it's been a breeze to kind of build this up the way that we like it. Panasonic's done a great job of just creating a system that is easy to use. And with this new Micro Four Thirds sensor, it's going to be pretty awesome to see what that sensor can do.
So all this tech and all this camera prep is going to go well for the shoot tomorrow, but you also want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself physically. Now, there's a couple things that you can do from a mobility perspective to make sure that you don't cramp up, but you also want to make sure that you're hydrated. Tomorrow's going to be super hot and it's going to be a long day, and you don't want to wait till you get to set to actually start drinking water. You probably want to do it a day or so before. That way, especially when you're going to be busy and you're going to be camera operating, you can't take a water break all the time. At least you're not going to end up getting dehydrated where things can go wrong. Okay, we have the whole crew here. The camera set up and we're ready to get it on the easy rig. We're going to be using the Vario 5, which it may or may not fit. We'll find out if it works. After Superman downward.
Yeah, there you go. See?
I can do that.
No, you good. Okay, easy rig on. Let's try this camera.
There's.
Yep. Mine.
So this handle is not a grab handle
Yeah,
right
so
now.
that's on a grab handle.
It will be adjusted to maybe possibly be a grab handle in the near future.
Is there a way to
Maybe I'm gonna
move?
flip it.
Yeah, is there a way to flip it or just move it a little more vertical?
You need an Apple box. Bring it up around there. How's that?
That's pretty good.
And then how do you like it here? Is this too far out or do you like it there?
I like this here. Like I can maneuver like this, no problem.
Right.
Like this is actually.
Not you, but definitely Brady.
How's that?
Oh, yeah.
This is good. Okay, so it looks like we're done. We actually have it on the easy rig. Everything's pretty decent, and you know that it's on an easy rig with enough tension where I can kind of go hands-free, and this is still going to maintain the same spot. If it drags too low, then you got to add a little bit more on there, but this is pretty much how we're going to be working. Now, we still have to test out the lenses. We still have to test out a bunch of other things to make sure that it's working. But right now, we actually have the monitors going on, making sure the transmission and the latency is good. But for the most part, in terms of camera package, we're actually ready to go. Now, lens testing is a really important part of your camera prep, not only to make sure that the focus works for each one, but to find out which in our set is going to be softer or sharper or give the look and the compression that the DPs actually want. Now, Brady and Brittany are here to actually test out these lenses to find out what they like, what they want to use on the day. I kind of wish we rolled on some of this footage. However, one of the things you want to do in your camera prep is to make sure you test out your lenses to find out which ones of your set you're going to start with and generally which ones you're going to gravitate to throughout the day. So we're back at our house, mostly because this shoot is over, but I wanted to wrap up some of the details in terms of your camera prep. No matter what camera you're gonna have, these are things you wanna keep in mind. You wanna keep in mind how much memory you have on the day, how much battery power that you have, how many cameras you need, whether you need time code or wireless transmission, and at the same time, you wanna make sure you have all your accessories rigged and ready for the next day to make things a lot shorter. You don't wanna spend a lot of your time on set setting up because time is money, and if you can get those things prepped beforehand, you could actually have a more successful day on set. Now, there are a couple things I might have missed out on a little bit to make this video as short and concise as possible. This could be a lot longer of a video, but I don't really know if you guys want to stay for that long. But what I do want you to do is leave your comment down below in terms of what are some of your camera prep hacks. Now, in terms of the specific rigging points that are going to be on this camera, I'm going to separate that for another video, and we're going to talk about some of those tools then. Now that screen on my monitor has turned off, I can recommend you another video that's going to talk about my on-set experience with the GH7, even though we use it as a B cam. You can check it out right over there once it's up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.